Captain Lee Taemin stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon's edge, watching the stars through the wide windows. The ship was 3 days out from Earth, heading toward the New Geneva colony for a routine supply check. These trips were usually boring, but Taemin liked the quiet time between worlds. It gave him space to think. Lieutenant Park So-young sat at her communication station, checking messages from other ships in the area. She was young, maybe 25, with quick fingers that danced across her control panel. Taemin had worked with her for 2 years now, and she never missed anything important. "Captain," So-young called out suddenly. Her voice had a strange tone. "I'm getting something weird from New Geneva." Taemin walked over to her station. "What kind of weird?" "The signal is breaking up. Listen to this." She played the recording through the bridge speakers. A man's voice came through, full of static and fear. "This is New Geneva Control to any ship in range. We are under attack. Repeat, we are under attack. Unknown vessels in the sky. They're not responding to any signals. The colony ships are..." The message cut off into silence. Taemin felt ice in his stomach. "When did this come in?" 15 minutes ago. I've been trying to reach them since then. Nothing. Get me Dr. Kim Hae-won on the comm." Dr. Kim Hae-won was the ship's science officer. She had studied alien life for most of her career, though humans had never found any real aliens before. She appeared on the screen, looking tired from her research work. "Captain, what can I do for you? We got a distress call from New Geneva. They say they're under attack by unknown ships. What do you think?" Dr. Kim's face went serious. "Unknown ships? Are you sure it's not pirates or rebels?" The voice didn't sound like a normal raid. "Play it again, So-young." They listened to the message again. Dr. Kim's eyes grew wide, that fear in his voice. "Captain, I think we need to get there fast." Taemin nodded. "Helm, change course for New Geneva. Maximum speed." The ship's engines roared louder as they pushed toward the colony world. New Geneva was home to 17 million people. It was one of the biggest farming colonies in human space, growing food for 3 different star systems. If something happened to it, millions of people would go hungry. The next 6 hours felt like forever. Taemin paced the bridge while his crew worked quietly at their stations. They all knew something was wrong. The silence from New Geneva was not normal. Even during emergencies, someone always kept talking on the radio. "Coming out of hyperspace in 30 seconds, called the helm officer. "All stations, prepare for anything," Taemin ordered. The stars changed as they dropped back into normal space. Ahead of them should have been New Geneva, a green world with 3 moons and busy space traffic. Instead, they saw something that made everyone on the bridge go quiet. Where the planet should have been spinning peacefully in space, there was now a cloud of glowing debris. Pieces of metal and rock drifted in slow circles around where the world used to be. The 3 moons were still there, but they looked damaged, with huge craters on their surfaces. "My God," whispered So-young. Dr. Kim ran her scanners over the debris field. "Captain, I'm reading massive radiation levels. Whatever happened here, it was powerful enough to break apart an entire planet." "Any survivors?" Taemin asked, though he already knew the answer. "No life signs. Nothing artificial either. No ships, no space stations. It's all gone." Taemin stared at the floating ruins of what had been a living world just hours ago. 17 million people had lived here. Now there was nothing but radioactive dust and twisted metal. "Take us closer. I want to know what did this." As they moved through the debris field, Dr. Kim kept scanning. "Captain, I'm finding something strange. The destruction pattern is too clean." "What do you mean?" "Look at these readings." The planet was broken apart, but not randomly. Something targeted specific areas with incredible precision. The farming domes, the cities, the spaceports, they were all hit with the same type of weapon. What kind of weapon could do this? "I don't know. The energy signatures are unlike anything in our databases. This technology is far beyond what humans can build." So-young spoke up from her station. "Captain, I'm getting emergency broadcasts from other systems. It sounds like more colonies have been attacked." The messages came in one after another. Bergen Colony, silent. New Tokyo Station, destroyed. Harvest Moon Agricultural Center, gone. Each report was the same. No warning. No communication from the attackers. Just sudden and total destruction. Taemin felt the weight of command pressing down on him. This wasn't pirates or rebels. This was something else entirely. Something that could destroy entire worlds without effort. So-young, get me Admiral Cho Dong-hyun at Terra Central Command. Emergency priority. The Admiral's face appeared on the main screen. He was an older man with gray hair and worried eyes. Behind him, Taemin could see people running around the command center. Captain Lee, thank God you're alive. What's your status? New Geneva's gone, sir. The entire planet. We're looking at a debris field. Dr. Kim says the attack came from unknown technology. Admiral Cho's face went pale. That makes 12 colonies in 6 systems. All hit at the same time, all completely destroyed. No survivors anywhere. 12 colonies? Sir, who could do this? We don't know. But whoever they are, they just declared war on the human race. Dr. Kim stepped forward. Admiral, the energy readings I'm getting suggest the attackers are not from this galaxy. The weapon signatures contain elements that don't exist in our local stellar group. Aliens, the Admiral said quietly. After 300 years of looking, we finally found them. And they're trying to kill us all. Taemin looked out at the debris that had once been 17 million human lives. Orders, sir? Return to Earth immediately. Bring all your scanner data. We need to understand what we're fighting. Yes, sir. As the horizon's edge turned away from the destroyed colony, Taemin watched the glowing debris grow smaller in the distance. Somewhere out there, an enemy with incredible power was hunting humanity. They had struck without warning, without mercy, without any attempt at communication. But humans had survived ice ages, wars, plagues, and the long journey to the stars. They would survive this too, no matter what it took. The real question was, what would humanity become in the process of fighting for its life? Captain Yoon Ji-ho walked through the halls of the UES Silent Thunder, checking on his crew. The ship was new, built with the best stealth technology humans could create. Its hull was covered in special materials that bent light and radio waves around it, making it nearly invisible to enemy scanners. 3 weeks had passed since the first attacks. Earth's military had moved fast, creating Task Force Nemesis to hunt down the aliens who destroyed the colonies. Yoon had volunteered to lead the mission, even though everyone knew it was probably suicide. Lieutenant Commander Bae Min-ji stood in the war room, studying star maps on the large table. She was brilliant at tactics, able to see patterns that others missed. Her job was to figure out where the aliens would strike next. Any luck tracking them? Yoon asked. Maybe, Min-ji said, pointing to a series of red dots on the map. Look at this. All the attacks happened along this line through space. They're moving in a specific direction. Chief Engineer Kang Woo-jin joined them at the table. He was a big man with strong hands, the kind of person who could fix anything with the right tools. For the past week, he had been studying the alien weapon traces that Dr. Kim Hae-won had found. The energy signatures are definitely not from our galaxy, Woo-jin said. I've been comparing them to everything in our databases. Nothing matches. These aliens came from somewhere very far away. How far? Yoon asked. Maybe from outside the Milky Way entirely. The idea made everyone quiet. If the aliens had traveled between galaxies, their technology was beyond anything humans could imagine. But they were here now, killing colonies, and someone had to stop them. Dr. Lim Subin entered the war room carrying a tablet full of data. She was the ship's language expert, the person who studied how different groups communicated. For days, she had been trying to decode the strange signals the aliens left behind. I found something, she said, her voice excited but worried. The aliens do communicate, but not in any way we expected. She played a recording through the room's speakers. It sounded like music mixed with mathematics, beautiful but completely alien. This is how they talk to each other. It's based on quantum fluctuations instead of sound waves. I've only decoded small pieces, but what I found is scary. What do they say? Min-ji asked. They call themselves the hegemony, and they think we're contamination. Yoon felt cold. Contamination? From what I can understand, they believe younger species like humans spread too fast and mess up the galaxy. They think the only solution is to wipe us out completely. Woo-jin slammed his fist on the table. So they're not even trying to conquer us. They just want us dead. All of us, Dr. Lim confirmed. Every human. Everywhere. The Silent Thunder continued following the trail of exotic particles the aliens had left behind. It was like tracking footprints made of energy, fading a little more each day. But the ship's sensors were good, and Woo-jin had made them even better. After 2 more days of searching, they found something. Contact, called the sensor officer. 3 alien ships bearing 270. All stop, Yoon ordered. Silent running. The silent thunder went completely quiet. All non-essential systems shut down, and the crew moved carefully to avoid making noise. The ship drifted through space like a piece of dead rock. On the main screen, they could see the alien vessels. They were beautiful in a terrible way, shaped like crystal flowers with energy flowing along their surfaces. Each ship was twice the size of Earth's biggest warships. "They're scanning something," Minji whispered. "Look at those energy beams." The aliens were examining the wreckage of a human cargo ship. Their beams cut through the debris with surgical precision, taking samples of everything. "They're learning about us," Yoon realized, "studying our technology." Dr. Lim worked quickly at her station, recording every signal the aliens sent. "I'm getting more of their language." They're reporting back to someone. A larger fleet, maybe. One of the alien ships suddenly turned toward them. "They see us," the sensor officer said, fear in his voice. "All power to engines," Yoon ordered. "Get us out of here," but it was too late. Beams of silver light shot from the alien ships, moving faster than anything humans had ever built. The silent thunder shook as the energy passed close by. "Evasive maneuvers," Yoon called out. The ship spun and dove, trying to escape, but the aliens were faster, their weapons more precise. Another beam struck the ship's rear section and alarms began screaming. "Hull breach in Section 7, Woojin reported. "We're losing atmosphere. Seal it off. All fighters launch now." Commander Park Jae-sung led 12 small fighter craft out of the Silent Thunder's hangar. His squadron was the best Earth had, pilots who could fly through asteroid fields blindfolded. The fighters spread out, attacking the alien ships from different directions. Their weapons seemed tiny compared to the massive alien vessels, but they were fast and hard to hit. "Focus fire on their weapon ports," Park ordered over the radio. The human pilots worked together like they had trained for years. They dove in close, fired their missiles, then spun away before the aliens could target them. It was dangerous work, like attacking sharks with needles. Then Park noticed something important. "All fighters, listen to this. When they fire those big energy beams, their ships slow down. They can't maneuver and shoot at the same time." It was a small weakness, but it was something. The human fighters changed their tactics, forcing the aliens to choose between moving and shooting. When the alien ships stopped to fire, the fighters hit them. When the aliens tried to chase, the fighters stayed out of range. One alien ship took too much damage and began to drift. Its crystal hull was cracked and energy leaked out like blood. "We hurt them," Park said, amazement in his voice. "They can be hurt, but the victory cost them." The aliens learned fast, adapting their tactics to counter the human fighters. One by one, Park's squadron was destroyed. He watched his friends die in flashes of silver light. In the end, only 3 fighters made it back to the Silent Thunder. Park's ship was badly damaged, its hull scarred by near misses. "Get us out of here," Yoon ordered as soon as the survivors were aboard. The Silent Thunder limped away from the battle, its stealth systems damaged but still working. Behind them, the 2 remaining alien ships did not follow. They seemed more interested in studying the wreckage of the human fighters. In the medical bay, Park sat on a bed while the doctor treated his burns. "We learned something important," he told Yoon. "They're powerful, but they're not perfect. Their weapons need huge amounts of energy. They can't do everything at once." Yoon nodded. "Good work, Commander. That information might save lives." Dr. Lim joined them with her tablet full of alien communications. I decoded more of their messages. "The hegemony has been doing this for a long time. They've destroyed hundreds of species across multiple galaxies." "Hundreds?" the doctor said, shock in her voice, "maybe thousands. They see it as cleaning up the universe, removing what they call inferior contamination, so that worthy species can flourish." Yoon looked out the medical bay window at the stars. Somewhere out there, an enemy was hunting humanity with technology beyond imagination. They had already killed millions of people and showed no sign of stopping. But humans had learned something valuable. The aliens could be hurt. Their weapons had limits. And most important of all, they could be surprised. It wasn't much, but it was a start. The hunt was just beginning. Director Na Yoon-soo walked into the secret meeting room deep beneath Geneva. The United Earth Council had gathered an emergency session, and the faces around the table showed the fear everyone was trying to hide. In 3 weeks, humanity had lost 27 colonies and over 50 million people. "The conventional military response is failing," Na Yoon-soo said, placing her tablet on the table. "Our ships are faster, but their weapons are more powerful. At this rate, they'll reach Earth within 6 months." President Harrison looked tired. He had aged 10 years in the past month. What other options do we have? One, but you're not going to like it. She activated the room's holographic display. A three-dimensional star map appeared, showing the alien fleet's movement through human space. Dr. Song Byung-ho has been working on something he calls Project Prometheus. Show them, Doctor. Dr. Song stood up slowly. He was a quiet man who usually worked with theories and mathematics, not weapons of war. His hand shook slightly as he activated his presentation. For the past 15 years, I've been studying stellar engineering, how to manipulate stars, change their behavior, even trigger their collapse. You want to blow up suns? Asked General Morrison. Not exactly. Stars are incredibly stable, but under the right conditions, you can destabilize them, create a cascade failure that leads to premature collapse. The room went quiet. Everyone understood what he was suggesting. You're talking about destroying entire solar systems, President Harrison said slowly. Yes. But sir, these aliens have shown they will not stop until humanity is extinct. They don't negotiate. They don't take prisoners. They just kill. Na Yun-soo pulled up intelligence reports from the destroyed colonies. Dr. Song is right. Every piece of evidence suggests the hegemony sees this as extermination, not conquest. They're not trying to rule us. They want us gone. General Morrison leaned forward. How would this stellar weapon work? Dr. Song changed the display to show a complex diagram. Stars maintain their stability through a balance of forces. Gravity pulls inward, nuclear fusion pushes outward. If you can disrupt that balance precisely, the star collapses into a neutron star or black hole. What would that do to the solar system? Everything within 5 light years would be destroyed instantly. The gravitational waves alone would shatter planets. President Harrison stood and walked to the window. Outside, Geneva looked peaceful in the morning sun. But everyone in the room knew that peace was an illusion. How long would it take to build this weapon? 3 months if we commit everything to it. But sir, we would need materials that are very hard to find. Rare elements from the core of gas giants, crystallized dark matter, quantum processors capable of calculations beyond our current technology. Engineer Ro Young-mi spoke up from her chair. I've been working on the practical engineering problems. It's possible, but we'd need to strip resources from every major project in human space. Do it, President Harrison said. Whatever it takes. The next 3 months became a race against time. Secret facilities appeared in the asteroid belt, hidden inside hollowed-out rocks. The best scientists and engineers from across human space were brought in under maximum security. Physicist Dr. Shin Dong-wook led the theoretical team, working 18-hour days to solve problems that had never been attempted before. The mathematics alone filled entire computer systems. The biggest challenge is delivery, he explained to Na Yun-soo during one of her inspection visits. The weapon has to be placed within 1 light year of the target star. Getting it there without being detected is almost impossible. Captain Moon Sung-ho had been working on that exact problem. His stealth ships conducted raids throughout the outer systems, gathering the rare materials needed for the project. His team worked in complete silence using hand signals and written notes to avoid electronic detection. Intelligence Officer Won Da-eun provided real-time information about alien patrol patterns. She had learned to read their movements, understanding how they searched for human ships. They're methodical, she told Moon during a briefing. They scan every asteroid, every piece of debris. But they focus on areas where humans have been active. If we can find virgin space, we might be able to hide there. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. An So-ra was a mathematician who specialized in quantum mechanics. While everyone else focused on the engineering problems, she studied the aliens themselves. I've been analyzing the energy signatures from their weapons, she told the assembled team. Their technology creates quantum entanglement across vast distances. What does that mean? Na Yun-soo asked. It means their own technology can be turned against them. If we trigger a stellar collapse near one of their quantum network nodes, the effects will propagate through their entire system. Dr. Song's eyes went wide. You're saying we could destroy multiple star systems with one weapon? Potentially dozens. Their network connects their entire fleet. Admiral Kim Young-soo was implementing the darker part of Earth's strategy. While the scientists built their weapon, he prepared for failure. Secret evacuation ships were hidden throughout the solar system, carrying genetic samples, cultural records, and small populations of humans. If Earth falls, humanity will survive, he told his trusted officers. We'll scatter to every corner of the galaxy. They can't hunt us all. But Dr. An's discovery changed everything. If the stellar weapon could cascade through the alien network, humanity might actually win this war. The final weapon was unlike anything humans had ever built. It looked like a metallic sphere covered in crystalline growths about the size of a small building. Inside, quantum processors calculated stellar dynamics in real time, while exotic matter generators prepared to disrupt space-time itself. "It's beautiful," Dr. Song said, watching the final tests. "And terrible." Captain Seo Jinwoo had volunteered to deliver the weapon. His ship, the UES Prometheus's Fire, was a modified dreadnought stripped of everything except engines, life support, and the delivery system. "The mission is one way," Na Yun-soo told him during the final briefing. "Even if the weapon works perfectly, you won't be far enough away to survive the stellar collapse." "I understand," Seo replied calmly. 50 million people are already dead. If this saves the rest of humanity, it's worth it." Navigator Oh Min-seo had plotted their course through alien territory. It would take them deep into enemy space, to a system where the aliens were building something massive. Weapons Officer Choi Hyun-jin would handle the weapon's final targeting sequence. She was the best gunner in the fleet, capable of hitting targets from impossible distances. As the Prometheus's Fire prepared to launch, reports came in from the front lines. The alien fleet was accelerating toward Earth. They would arrive in 6 weeks. "No pressure," Seo joked to his crew as they strapped in for departure. But everyone knew the truth. Humanity's survival now depended on a weapon that had never been tested, carried by volunteers who would never come home. In the depths of space, the Prometheus's Fire began its journey toward the heart of the alien empire. Behind them, Earth waited in the darkness, hoping that when stars began to die, it would mean humanity would live. The UES Prometheus's Fire drifted silently through enemy territory, its hull scarred from 3 weeks of careful travel. Captain Seo Jinwoo stood on the bridge, watching the alien star system grow larger on the main screen. 7 artificial suns burned in perfect formation, each one feeding massive amounts of energy to the construction yards below. Navigator Oh Min-seo checked her instruments one more time. "Captain, we're exactly where we need to be. The gravitational shadows are hiding us perfectly." The plan had worked so far. Commander Lee Da-som had been right about the alien energy harvesting. The hegemony had been consuming natural stars and replacing them with artificial ones, creating predictable gravitational patterns. Those patterns could hide a single human ship, if that ship was very careful and very lucky. Weapons Officer Choi Hyun-jin sat at her targeting console, making final adjustments to the stellar weapon. "The quantum calculations are complete. All 7 suns are linked to their network. When we trigger the collapse, it should cascade through their entire system." Dr. Jeon In-ho worked at his archaeology station, studying the alien structures they could see in the distance. What he had found made everyone on the ship feel sick. "Captain, you need to see this," he said quietly. SEO walked over to the archaeology station. On the screen was a detailed scan of one of the alien construction platforms. But instead of seeing normal building materials, the scan showed something horrible. "Those aren't metal supports," Dr. Jones said. "They're organic. The aliens are using the bodies of dead species as building materials." The crew gathered around the screen, staring at the evidence. The aliens hadn't just killed other species. They had turned them into part of their war machine. "How many species?" SEO asked. "Based on the biological signatures, maybe 300 different ones. Some of the organic components are millions of years old." Engineer Park Soo-jin felt sick. "They've been doing this for millions of years, just traveling from galaxy to galaxy, killing everything. And using the dead to build ships to kill the next species," added Oh Min-seo. Seo looked around at his crew. These people had volunteered for a suicide mission to save humanity. Now they knew they were also avenging hundreds of other species that had been murdered and desecrated. "All the more reason to make sure this works," he said, quietly. Tactical Officer Hanbo Ra was monitoring the alien patrols. "Captain, we have a problem. 3 scout ships are moving in our direction. Have they detected us? I don't think so. But they're scanning everything in this area. If they get much closer, they'll find us." Seo made the decision quickly. "Begin weapon activation sequence. If we're going to do this, it has to be now." Choi Hyun-jin's hands flew over her controls. "Stellar weapon is coming online. Quantum processors are calculating final targeting solutions. The weapon itself was housed in the ship's forward section, behind layers of shielding that barely contained its power. As it activated, the entire ship began to vibrate with barely controlled energy. "Weapon is ready," Choi reported. "But Captain, the activation signature is massive. Every alien ship in the system will see it. How long until firing?" 2 minutes for final calculations. Bora, plot an evasive course. "We need to buy time." The Prometheus's fire broke its silent drift and began moving toward the alien construction yards. Its engines roared to life, abandoning stealth for speed. Alarms began screaming from the alien ships. Energy beams lanced through space, trying to target the human vessel. "They see us," Bora called out. 15 ships moving to intercept. "Sujin, give me everything the engines have." "Already at maximum, Captain. But the weapon is drawing too much power. We can't maintain top speed much longer." The alien ships were fast, but the Prometheus's fire had one advantage. It was desperate, and desperation made humans do impossible things. Bora threw the ship into a series of spinning dives, using the artificial sun's gravity to slingshot them toward their target. Enemy fire passed all around them, close enough to heat the hull. 1 minute until firing, Choi announced. An alien beam struck their rear section, and the ship shuddered. Warning lights flashed as systems began failing. "Hull breach in Section 12, Sujin reported. "We're losing atmosphere. Seal it off." "How's the weapon?" "Still functional." 30 seconds. More alien ships appeared, surrounding them on all sides. The Prometheus's fire was trapped in a sphere of enemy vessels, all firing at once. "Captain," Minseo said quietly, "it's been an honor." 20 seconds. The ship's shields collapsed under the concentrated fire. Energy beams burned through the hull, reaching toward the crew compartments. 10 seconds. SEO grabbed the ship's communication system. "To any human ship receiving this message, the weapon is firing. Remember us." 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Firing now. The stellar weapon released its energy in a pulse that twisted space-time itself. The quantum calculations that had taken months to prepare were executed in microseconds, targeting the nuclear processes at the heart of 7 artificial suns. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the first sun began to flicker. The alien ships stopped firing, their attention turning to their dying star. The nuclear processes that fed their empire were collapsing, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. The second sun went dark. Then the third. The quantum cascade was working exactly as Dr. An had predicted. The alien's own network was carrying the stellar disruption across vast distances, infecting every connected star with the same catastrophic instability. On the bridge of the Prometheus's fire, the crew watched their success through the flames that were consuming their ship. Enemy fire had torn through most of their hull, but the weapon had done its job. "Captain," Choi said, her voice weak from smoke inhalation, "I'm reading stellar collapses across 47 systems. The cascade is still spreading." Seo smiled as he watched the artificial suns die one by one. "How many alien ships?" "Thousands. Maybe tens of thousands. All gone." The fourth sun collapsed into a point of infinite density, becoming a black hole that began devouring everything around it. The alien construction yards were pulled apart by gravitational forces beyond imagination. Dr. John managed one last archaeological scan as his equipment died. "Captain, the organic components are being destroyed too. All those murdered species are finally being laid to rest." The fifth sun died in a flash of gamma radiation that sterilized everything in the system. "Sujin, can you get us clear?" Seo asked. "Negative. Engines are gone. We're caught in the gravitational collapse." The sixth sun became a neutron star, its surface gravity strong enough to flatten atoms. Minseo checked her instruments one final time. "Captain, I'm reading massive gravitational waves. They're going to reach Earth in about 6 hours. Will they hurt our home?" "No, sir. Earth is too far away. But every astronomer in human space will see what we did here." The seventh and final sun began its death spiral. As it collapsed, the quantum cascade reached its peak, spreading through the alien network faster than light itself. Through the chaos of alarms and failing systems, the crew of the Prometheus's fire heard something impossible. It was Choi Hyun-jin laughing. "Captain, do you know what we just did? We saved humanity." "No, sir. We did more than that. According to these readings, we just freed the galaxy." Outside the dying ship, space itself was tearing apart as 7 black holes formed in perfect synchronization. The alien empire's greatest stronghold was becoming a monument to their defeat. And across the galaxy, in 47 other systems, the same thing was happening. The hegemony's million-year reign of terror was ending in a cascade of dying stars. Captain Seo Jin-woo and his crew had given their lives for humanity. But their sacrifice had done something bigger. They had avenged every species the aliens had ever murdered, and ensured that no one would ever suffer the same fate again. As the Prometheus's fire was pulled into the event horizon of a newborn black hole, Seo's last thought was simple: it was worth it. Admiral Cho Dong-hyun stood in Terra Central Command, watching the deep space sensors with growing amazement. One by one, stars were dying across the galaxy. Not natural deaths that took millions of years, but sudden violent collapses that sent gravitational waves racing through space. "How many now?" he asked the sensor operator. 43 confirmed stellar collapses, sir. The pattern is still spreading." Director Na Yoon-soo joined him at the central display. She had been awake for 36 hours, coordinating Earth's defenses for the alien attack that everyone expected. Instead, she was watching the enemy destroy themselves. "It worked," she said quietly. Captain Seo and his crew actually did it. The quantum cascade was moving through space faster than anything humans had ever detected. Each dying star triggered the collapse of others, following the alien communication network like a disease of destruction. Dr. Kim Hae-won worked frantically at her station, trying to understand what they were seeing.
"Admiral, the energy signatures match Dr. An's predictions exactly."
The aliens' own technology is carrying the stellar disruption across their entire empire. What does that mean for their fleet? Based on these readings, any ship connected to their network when a star collapses is destroyed instantly. We're looking at the complete annihilation of their military forces. On the main screen, a real-time map showed the dying stars as red dots spreading across known space. Each dot represented billions of alien lives and countless war machines reduced to cosmic dust. Admiral Cho felt the weight of what humanity had done. In their fight for survival, they had become something terrible. They had turned the galaxy itself into a weapon. But then reports began coming in from the outer colonies. The alien fleet that had been heading toward Earth was simply gone. Ships that had been detected just hours ago were now nothing but expanding clouds of debris. "Sir," called the communications officer, "I'm getting messages from all our remaining colonies. The alien attacks have stopped completely." "Stopped?" "Yes, sir. Every alien ship in human space has been destroyed. Whatever Captain Seo's mission accomplished, it killed them all." In the weeks that followed, Captain Yoon Ji-ho led a fleet of Earth ships to investigate the alien territories. What they found was a graveyard of civilizations. The aliens had controlled hundreds of star systems. Now most of those systems were empty space, marked only by black holes and neutron stars where planets used to orbit. The quantum cascade had been thorough in its destruction. "It's not just their ships," reported Commander Bae Min-ji from the UES Silent Thunder. "Their entire infrastructure is gone. Space stations, orbital platforms, even their artificial worlds, all destroyed. But they also found something unexpected. In the ruins of alien facilities, human teams discovered evidence of other species that had been enslaved by the hegemony. Most were dead, but some had survived in isolated pockets. Dr. Lim Soo-bin worked with xenobiologist teams to communicate with these survivors. What they learned filled in the terrible history of the galaxy. The hegemony had been conquering for over 2 million years, she reported to Admiral Cho. They destroyed thousands of species across multiple galaxies. We weren't their first victims. We were supposed to be their last. The aliens had planned to use human space as a staging area for attacks on other galaxies. Earth's resistance had not just saved humanity, but potentially countless other species in distant star clusters. However, the victory came with an unexpected consequence. Dr. Kim Hae-won discovered that the quantum cascade had done more than destroy the alien network. It had created permanent zones where faster-than-light travel was impossible. The gravitational disruptions have torn holes in space-time, she explained to a gathering of Earth's leaders. These dead zones will exist for millions of years. Any ship that tries to enter them will be destroyed. What does that mean for galactic civilization? Asked President Harrison. It means the galaxy is now divided into separate regions. No single species will ever again be able to conquer everything. The dead zones act as permanent barriers. It was a sobering thought. Humanity had won the war, but in doing so, they had changed the fundamental nature of the galaxy itself. Admiral Kim Young-soo began the process of bringing humanity's scattered populations home. The generation ships and hidden colonies that had been prepared for Earth's destruction were no longer needed. "We can rebuild," he told the returning colonists. "But we need to rebuild differently. This war taught us what we're capable of when we're pushed too far." New colonies were established, but they were different from the old ones. Every world had deep bunkers and hidden weapon facilities. Children were taught about the war and the price of survival. Humanity would never again be caught unprepared. The rebuilt colonies were also more united than before. The shared experience of nearly facing extinction had brought all of humanity together. Old national divisions seemed petty compared to the struggle for species survival. Years passed. The galaxy slowly adjusted to its new reality. In the dead zones, strange new phenomena appeared as space-time healed from the quantum cascade. Some areas became impossible to navigate, while others developed properties that bent the laws of physics. Scientists like Dr. Song Byung-ho studied these regions, trying to understand what humanity had unleashed. The stellar weapon had worked beyond their wildest expectations, but it had also created mysteries that would take generations to solve. "We broke something fundamental about how the universe works," Dr. Song admitted during a scientific conference. "The question is whether we can learn to live with the consequences." On Earth, a massive monument was built in Geneva, near where the decision to build the stellar weapon had been made. It listed the names of every colonist killed in the alien attacks and every crew member who died fighting the war. The inscription was simple but powerful. They thought we were weak. The stars themselves proved them wrong. Captain Lee Taemin, now an admiral, often visited the monument. He had been one of the first to see the alien destruction, and he had lived to see humanity's response. "Do you think we did the right thing?" asked his aide, a young officer who had been born after the war. Lee thought for a long moment, looking at the names carved in black stone. "I think we did the only thing we could do. When someone tries to exterminate your entire species, you fight back with everything you have, even if it means destroying entire star systems." Even then, the hegemony killed billions of innocent people across thousands of species. They had to be stopped. But Lee knew the real answer was more complicated. Humanity had survived, but they had also become something darker in the process. They had proven they could be as ruthless as any enemy when their survival was at stake. The galaxy was safer now, divided by the dead zones into regions that no single empire could control. But it was also scarred by the evidence of what civilizations could do to each other when pushed to extremes. In the end, humanity had won not just a war, but a grim lesson about the universe. Life was precious, but it was also fragile, and sometimes the only way to preserve it was to become temporarily monstrous. The stars continued to shine in the night sky above Earth, but now some of them were different. Some were the light of distant suns that had died in humanity's war for survival. They served as eternal reminders of the price of existence in a universe where extinction was always possible. Humanity had faced the ultimate test and survived. The question now was what they would become with the knowledge of what they were capable of doing. The galaxy would watch and wait for the answer.